Hey, do you want to learn how to play Zed? Do you want to learn how to do the most annoying thing on the planet? And do you want to learn how to do crazy clips like this? Son of a... I quit. I'm done. Roll the intro. What is going on, guys? Hunter Medusa here, bringing you guys a brand new video. Today we are doing another how to play. This week specifically, if you haven't figured it out yet, we are targeting Zed. All jokes aside, Zed is actually a pretty good champion. He's not as good as people such as Cassiopeia, but we'll get into it a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. My last video on how to play Cassiopeia actually did really well, and it seemed like it was something that you guys wanted to see. So I went right ahead, started making another one. Again, if you guys want to see a specific champion that's done next, just leave it in the comments. I'll do it. Even if it's like Soraka. I don't know how to play Soraka, but I'll figure it out so that you can get better at playing it. But anyway, guys, with that moved out of the way, let's jump right into the video. So, Zed, mid laner, ADC, super annoying, and impossible to kill. Jumping right into things, Zed's passive, Contempt for the Weak. So essentially what this does is when Zed auto attacks and the unit has below a certain amount of health, then Zed's auto attack actually does more damage than it would normally do. So it actually does deal magic damage. So it is actually really good to have, because with Zed specifically, people are going to be building armor instead of magic resist, and so if they are super low health, having that passive kick in to do that extra magic damage actually can be really strong. So pretty self-explanatory. It's really easy to farm early game with Zed because of that passive that he does have. It allows him to execute minions that you wouldn't normally be able to execute because they have a little bit more health, but with his passive it works. So moving on to his Q, this is the Shuriken. So the Razor Shuriken, essentially what it does is he just throws a Shuriken out for a set distance and it goes through all targets hit. Now, unfortunately, after the Shuriken hits the first target, the damage is decreased for targets after the matter. So this is really good for farming early game, especially if you're playing against someone that's ranged. Being able to kind of sit back and kind of ignore the poke levels 1 through 3. You're able to actually use that Shuriken to maybe finish off minions, try to respond to the enemy trying to trade with you. So it has multiple utilizations, but in the early game, you're going to find yourself mostly using it to farm. And that's okay, because Zed runs on energy. You don't have to worry about losing mana for farm because it'll come back. And with that being said, it actually does do quite a bit of damage to champions. So using it as poke, if you can hit the champion first before anything else, it will do more damage. But any sort of poke is great poke. So moving on to his W. This is going to be Living Shadow. What Zed does is he creates a shadow of himself that he tosses in the direction of your cursor. It travels a short distance and Zed can actually teleport over to that shadow. But remember this, you can only teleport once. So if you teleport to go for a kill, you can't really get out of that situation without a flash or maybe an ult. So be wary with your W. So what's actually really great to use with Living Shadow is when you throw a Shuriken out, if you don't already know this, the Shadow will actually toss Shuriken too. So 2 Shurikens. Again, damage that they pass through, it deals less and less damage through each unit that it passes through. However, hitting them with 2 Shurikens, if you're able to hit the champion first, is actually pretty busted in the early game. Another way that you can use his shadow properly is if you want to fight somebody or you've got a gank coming in, you can actually throw your W behind you. I know, who would have guessed, right? Who would have guessed? But you can throw your W behind you and use it as a scapegoat. So if you're attacking a tower and you want to get as much damage down as you can, wait till the last minion is killed, throw your W out behind turret range, go for the final hit or that last little bit of turret gold. Then you can teleport back out of the turret and into safety. It's also really good to use to get over walls, get vision. It has a ton of utilization. So moving on to E, we've got Shadow Slash. Now essentially Zed, with this ability specifically, Zed is going to basically spin around and slash. I know, who would have guessed it? That's insane, right? Now this is basically just an AoE effect that he can use to wave clear, and once you start to level it up, it actually starts to do quite a bit of damage. But It actually does apply a slow, so that is the small passive that the E does have. If you're able to hit a champion or a minion or anybody with it, it does apply a small slow. It doesn't last very long, but trust me, especially if you're going for a kill, the slow can help you out quite a bit. So moving on to R, we've got Death Mark. Now this one is what makes Zed so hard to play against and what makes Zed so irritating. So essentially what he does is he becomes invulnerable for 0.5 seconds, I believe, and creates a mark on the target. So after he applies this mark on the target, he then has 3 seconds to do as much damage as he can to that specific target. So E's, Q's, auto attacks as much as you can, even ignite, because in 3 seconds when that mark pops, it will immediately repeat all damage that Zed did during that mark to them again. So it's a really good execution. When you start to get Zed built and have a lot of lethality in his kit, he actually starts to do a lot of damage, even to tanky people, because of the lethality. And it can be devastating to like try to play against him and him just be able to do all of this free damage. Now with his art, it also creates another shadow. So wherever you were standing when you activated your death mark, that creates a shadow as you attack onto the enemy. Now, you can reactivate your art any point and you can go back to that shadow. And if you throw your W out as you're going to art, now you have 2 escapes, can be very well utilized. So if you want to tower dive somebody under turret, wait for them to get close enough to you outside of turret range, ult onto them, do as much damage as you can, reactivate art, and boom, you're outside of turret range, you're safe, hopefully. And if you were able to get enough damage down, you have secured the kill. Now, one thing that people don't know, this is just a little pro tip for maybe some of you experienced Zed players, is that the shurikens actually stack damage. Remember when I said that if you create a shadow using your W, it will throw a shuriken out as well? Well, that works with your R shadow as well. So if you're able to throw your W out, ult onto somebody, and they're all within the vicinity of your 2 other shadows, you can throw shurikens at them and you will hit 3 times the damage of a normal shuriken. A lot of people don't really know that, but you can essentially throw 3 shurikens at people. Now that we've gotten his basic abilities out of the way, let's jump into how to play him specifically. Now, Zed is very similar to Talon, which I will be covering at another point, so be sure to let me know down in the comments if you want to see Talon. But anyway, Zed is going to be traveling top and bot lane a lot when it comes to playing him specifically, due to the fact that he has so much early kill potential. So being in mid lane, the minions reach you first, so you're actually able to reach level 6 before anybody else in the game. This gives you a really good advantage of playing Zed because you're then able to use your ultimate, travel to the other lanes that aren't maybe 6 yet, or bot lane where they're going to be super squishy, and you're able to secure a lot of kills. You're able to not only help your bot lane, not only help your top lane, but you're able to feed yourself, which just makes it easier because unfortunately Zed does fall off late game. So anytime, if you just find yourself just mindlessly farming, if you have your ultimate, look and see if there's an opportunity to go roam somewhere. And if there's an opportunity, take it, because chances are you're going to really help out your top. If your top isn't doing so well and your jungler has been completely focused on bot lane, go help out your top. See if you can maybe pull him back out of the sludge and get him up to his feet again so that you guys have a better chance of winning the game. That's the whole point of being an assassin in the mid lane, is to, 1, get to the back line, deal as much damage as you can before you die. Unfortunately, that's how it is. Assassins tend to die a lot in team fights because they're squishy, and as long as they get a kill on the ADC or the jungler or whoever it may be, they did their job. Number 2, you're going to help out your teammates and you're going to get them snowballing maybe, or you're going to put some faith back in the team and maybe get them to be happy and think that we're going to win the game, right? Okay, so now when it comes to items, what items are you looking to build specifically for Zed? Now, there's going to be a few. Death Stance is going to be one that I highly suggest. The way that Zed can utilize Death Stance in his kit is unmatched. I mean, that item, it almost seems like it was specifically built for him. Okay, there's one other item that I would highly suggest, and that's going to be Edge of Night. If you're playing against a team that is full of CC or heavy poke, go with an Edge of Night. It's basically a Banshee's Veil, but for assassins and AD. What this essentially does is stops the first spell from hitting you, makes like it just negates the entire thing. It's basically a Sivir spell shield. Once it's gone, it has like a 45-second cooldown or so before it comes back. Now, those are the only 2 I don't like to tell you exactly what to build every game, because it could change every game. I mean, maybe one game you're going to need a Yomu's, the next game maybe not. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys 2 items that really, like, I find myself using almost every game when I play Zed specifically. So I just wanted to give you guys some sort of basis to start off, and then expand from there. See what items you like in a specific team comp, see what items don't work. I don't feel proper telling you guys to build these 6 items every game no matter what, because that's not how it is, and that's terrible advice. Don't listen to anybody that tells you to build the same 6 items every game. Okay, so when it comes to runes, what are you gonna use? Electrocute, Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collector, and Ultimate Hunter. Those are gonna be the runes that you are going to want to choose. This is important, not in the late game, but in the early game. And in the early game, because you'll be able to proc that Electrocute as often as possible, which is extra damage for the extra poke that you're gonna need if you're playing against a ranged mage. Having that Electrocute, if you're able to proc it once you ult to somebody, that just adds to the damage that his death mark is going to do after it expires. And then having the cooldown reduction after you get like so many takedowns is really nice, because it allows you to use your ultimate more often, obviously, and try to get to that backline, keep their ADC on lock, or whatever it may be. Next, you're going to want Precision, you're going to want Triumph, and Alacrity. Alacrity? Alacrity. I don't know. Alacrity. Then you're going to want to go attack speed, attack damage, and armor or magic resist, depending on the laner that you're playing against. So again, this is just going to be a short video for you guys. I just wanted to kind of go over some information on Zed, some basic tips for some new players, and a basic guide for how to play him, and maybe some information that maybe you experienced Zed players didn't know about. So if you guys do like this video, be sure to leave a like and comment down below as well. I would much appreciate it. And be sure to comment and let me know which champion you want me to do next. Otherwise, I'm just going to pick another one out of a hat and hopefully get a good one for you. Be sure to subscribe. It really helps me out and lets me know that you guys do enjoy the videos that I make for you and the content as a whole. Now, with that being said, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And thank you for joining the Stone Army.